So, I have another god awful video on Warframe. So, this is about solo Void Cascade level cap, or just solo Cascade in general. All I really needed was, what do you call it? Unairu for Caustic Stripe Armor Strip, and the Unairu Wisp. You're gonna need these two. The biggest problem, I would say, with Void Cascade just in general, is how tanky the Thrax are. Not for your like guns, they're pretty tanky when it comes to, like, actually killing them, like their overguard and everything. But the main problem with it, once you get really high up in the levels, is just how much raw health those fucking Thrax have. And it's just impossible to kill them with your operator unless you're using something like either probably Madarai or Unairu with like Magus Melt or like some other like DPS stuff. Because the run that I did was insanely unoptimized. So I'll show first the loadout that I actually used and what I did the level cap with, and then I'll show an improved loadout which would be so much easier to use than the garbage loadout that I used. So first companion, I used my normal Worm Prime build, which is just straight utility basically. I just use Manifold, Reinforced Bond, and Tenacious Bond for the bond mods. I like this for the crit multiplier, fire rate, and this is for cooldown for these two. Negate is like the best thing ever. Guardian, free shield gating. Shield charger just helps with getting your shields back too when this is on cooldown. Prime regen, if you don't have this, eat a dick, I don't know. Prime animal instinct, super useful but not needed too much anymore with the enemy radar changes. And redirection to get over the shield limit for this buff at all times. Super useful. And then I use the Volcax with Volcax crit delay to just get over 50% crit chance for the bond mod. Show it again for this crit chance or crit damage. Bonus, it's an additive multiplier on your gun. So normally my Torrid would have 7x. With that multiplier, it's 8.2. It adds 1.2. And then just a whole bunch of vigilante mods for the mod set bonus for more crits, to upgrade your crits from a yellow to a red. Yellow to an orange or an orange to a red. That's how it works. This is just bullshit to throw on it. He hardly shoots the fucking gun because I don't have any attack mods on. And okay, the actual build itself. So what I use actually Energy Nexus. So my whole like thing when I was making this build was for the biggest problem I have at Cascade is how hectic of a mode it is, especially on solo. Having to juggle all the zones, all the Thraxes. Just I wanted to get rid of everything that you would have to worry and think about. So I use Nourish plus Energy Nexus, which gives you, with my strength, it gives me like 6.1 or 2 energy per second just all the time, not on top of whatever Nourish gets you from all the energy orbs that just drop. So super useful. Deflection plus Vigor give you the damn near instant shield gate back. Even with the invisibility, the enemies shoot so much off when you go off your last known location. I haven't tried Hushed Invisibility, Loki's Augment, or any sort of silencing things. But even then, I'm not sure if you would want to run that, because then the enemies might not just swarm the zones to be able to get rid of to fill up the Cascade Exilizers quicker. So I'm not sure if you even actually would want that. I haven't tried it. I might try it, but if I do try it, I'll leave a comment and I'll clarify what it does and if it slows down anything or makes it better for some reason. Prime Flow for the energy max. Safeguard Switch. This is super useful for getting rid of stats effects if your worm ever goes on cooldown. You're not going to be using this too much. It's more of like mainly for the acolytes. Say if like violence comes or something like that, or like misery. If you get like fucked over and you get put in a really bad situation and you just can't really like do anything and you just kind of get dicked. This is there to just, if you can use it and get it off, and just give you some free iframes to help you out. Rolling Guard. With these two, you can get so many iframes, plus this, plus Invis. Your survivability is so much. If you're not a shitter at the game like I am, you probably won't die. I did die because I'm bad, but that's why I need to make a build that can not die because I'm bad at the game. Prime Sure Footed, if you don't have this, you're actually fucked. Just keep logging into the 400 days. And Discipline for Arcane Avenger. And getting into the Arcanes, I use Arcane Rise and Arcane Avenger because I want as much damage as possible. And my energy economy was, by the way, the entire time, I don't think I had a single energy issue, even when I was dying. If you ever get any sort of energy problems, just drop an energy pad. You can drop one every minute. And usually one is enough to get you off the ground because really all you need is Nourish. Because once you get Nourish up, you get your constant 6 energy per second. It's like having constant Zeneric. It's almost like if you ever played you played Warframe like way before, like old Warframe. The constant 5 energy per second you got from Zeneric. This is basically is that. This is what it feels like. So super nice to have. And I didn't even say anything about Nourish. So I use Nourish on the one. Nourish is for obviously the energy multiplier and the free viral. The reason why I have it is also because mainly for the viral, to be honest. The energy multiplier also makes it so you never have to worry about energy, which is super nice also. But the Corpus are a bitch. I hate the Corpus. Those nullifiers suck. Corpus just suck in general. They're very annoying. Easily, I think they're the most annoying. Unless you don't count Infested, which they just insta-kill you, which that's it's kind of just bullshit, to be honest. But no, Rambling. Nourish, really good. Allows you to make crazy elemental combos that you normally would never be able to make, like Toxin Viral, which is what I use on my Torrid. So if you're going against the Corpus, which I use Toxin Viral with Nourish with 100 munitions to help out with more TPS. This covers all types of damage for the most part. It's not the most optimized way. I also have a fucking unranked Blight. Like my actual base damage is only like 130 with Arcane Rise, so my base damage is actually super low. This is my Riven. If you don't have a Riven slot, probably I would say Hammer Shot is probably a good slot for if you want to like replicate and copy this build. Hammer Shot probably would be the best in slot. That's what I would run, at least me personally. Obviously, Prime Bane Corpus. Dots get a 2.55 multiplier if your mod is maxed out. Mine isn't. So max out your mods. Amalgam Serration. This sprint speed is much needed. This is probably like one of the most important things. Not the most important, but if you can get this on your weapon for Void Cascade, having any sort of movement speed, the amount of running around you have to do if you get a bad Talus set or anything like that, this sprint speed will save you. Not save you, but it keeps the actual Exilizers. It gives you a lot more leeway when it comes to actually like getting back and filling up your Exilizers. Because a big thing in Cascade, when you're transitioning from room to room, once you clear a room, say there's a lot of like Exilizers stack up in the next room, it's going to drain really quickly and you don't have too much time to be able to fill it back up. So having more sprint speed and just being able to get to the areas quicker allows you to just get way more like leeway, and just it makes it easier just in general in the mode. I said like bullshit that entire time. I used my Spore Lacer. I use this mainly for the Acolyte, but if I'm being completely honest, I would like one trick this entire run. I brute forced it with the Torrid. So I used no primer, just straight up Torrid plus Nourish, and that literally carried me the whole way. I use Survivor's Edge, Renewed Horror, and Final Fusillade for these. If I were to change this loadout in any way, throw any primer on, throw like fucking Hysterics, like this would be great. Mainly just for like or if you want to use something with like Splash, or like if you I would recommend, if you want to use something with Splash, go with like some sort of battery, something like maybe like a max status Spore Lacer with a ton of fire rate could probably do the job. Or you can always go like Epitaph, or like whatever your primer of choice is, just use that instead of wasting a slot on like a crit stick for the Acolyte, which I never ended up using because the Torrid was able to just kill the Acolytes anyway. Serrata I brought as a backup in case I ever had any like ammo issues or anything, just for any reason I needed to use it. I don't think I used this the entire run. So what I would end up using instead of the Serrata Praetos, Tellus Boltus, Ceramic Dagger, whatever gives you any sort of movement speed, or if you want to use something that would you could use to like kill anything. If you are using something like primary dexterity, then using something like a Glaive Prime or Serrata would be really nice. So I would recommend if you're using something like that to use a Serrata or Glaive, whatever the matchup is for the faction. If it's obviously Serrata for Corpus, Glaive for Grenier, and what else? I think that should be the majority of what I wanted to say. But so if you're gonna do this brute force with the Torrid, run a primer plus like Praetos or Boltus for the added movement speed. So just that, and I'll just throw on fucking this, I guess. So then run like a loadout like this. If you're going up against Corpus and you want to use we'll just keep this on because in all honesty you don't need the crit stick. So I would use this for the Corpus loadout if you are using Dexterity. Obviously switch Serrata to the Praetos if you just want the movement speed. And if you're going up against the Grenier, I would just probably put it to Viral Slash. Or however you, or if you want to do it like a heat build, whatever works. I would recommend Corpus. Toxin Viral is like just beats anything out by far in my opinion. I just like being able to insta kill them straight through their shields. You can maybe try magnetic stuff. I don't think that's a good idea because magnetic would be god awful against the Thrax. The Thrax are the biggest issue, and the Corpus kind of just like they do exist, and the Corpus are more annoying than the Grenier in my opinion. The Grenier I find so much easier because there's only one guy who will nullify you. It's the guys that throw the spears, and even then, those aren't even that bad. You could shoot them and get rid of them damn near instantly. Unlike the Corpus, where they just completely just rape. Like you can have all your abilities up, but you have to recast constantly because a nullifier just walk up to you out of nowhere. You can't even see it. It's like being blocked by something. Its bubble just grows out of nowhere, and now all your abilities are off, and you gotta fix it and recast, and just a whole fucking mess. So that's really annoying. But Grenier, obviously, I would just run Viral Slash or however your way of killing the Grenier would work. That would also work against the Thrax. I recommend using Uniru. The reason why I recommend Uniru is because you can now run Nourish instead of having to run any sort of armor strip. And, oh, shards. Yeah, I forgot to go over these. Double cast speed, because invisibility can be a little slow to cast. Nourish, my bad, isn't too slow, but still having cast speed helps. Just cast speed just nice in general. These are no Tau Force, so this build shouldn't be that hard to replicate. Besides the rank 5 Avenger. Then these two for the health regen for combat discipline, just to cover it, just to automate it, so I don't have to really worry about it. If you can get these on Tau Forge, that would actually help a lot because I did get pretty low sometimes in the run. So if you can do that, I would recommend that. Obviously, anything Tau Forge would be better, but if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. This build worked fine. I used it. And to go to the operator, because there is definitely one massive change I would make. So I used a Clamora to kill the Thrax, and that worked out pretty good. But until I got to level cap, I couldn't really kill them. The only way I can kill them was when the Thrax lash onto enemies, and they get a huge damage multiplier when you attack them, which they pretty much will die instantly, no matter what. Which when you see, I'll put the gameplay, a link to the gameplay at the end. I'm gonna upload the gameplay separately because I don't want to make the video like an hour. It's like about 30ish minutes, and there's no like commentary because there's just music in the background. I was just not really talking, but that you'll see in that how I was killing them once I got really high up. I realized I literally just couldn't kill them because the Clamora is a little jank sometimes with hitting headshot hitboxes. You got to aim a little above to hit them. But I used what was it? I think it's Clamora Certus Propa is my amp. Lockdown, if I'm being honest, Lockdown wasn't very useful. I didn't find it very useful. So if you want to take off Elevate or Lockdown, to be honest, I don't think it's a big change. There's so many fucking enemies that those 10 enemies that you hit aren't really like a big issue. Like you can't. They patched out being able to stun the Thrax with Magus Lockdown, which would be the biggest reason why you would run Magus Lockdown. You still works out obviously against the Acolytes, which is useful, but you have invisibility, and you have the switch teleport iframes. You get like 7 seconds, I think is what mine is. I'll double check it, but that should give you enough time to deal with Acolytes and all that kind of stuff. So that stuff isn't really a big problem. So Magus Lockdown isn't really that useful. So if you don't have it, it's not a huge deal. I run Virtuous Strike and Eternal Eradicate for my amp. If you want to use something else, by all means go ahead. I'm not big. I don't know how to optimize amps that crazily. I just know normal everyday missions, these work just fine for me. They worked fine at the level cap as long as they latch on the enemies. The biggest change I would make would be though, where is Magus Melt, Magus Melt, Magus Melt. This arcane is so underrated. This gives you so much damage with Unairu when you mix it together that I don't think you need Madurai. If as long as you use this, you can get away with using Unairu instead of having to use Madurai. So if you use this, you should be completely fine with killing the Thrax. I actually didn't use it, you'll see in the run. Big mistake, I should have used it. Even just getting the like 1 or 2 stacks of this works out really well. I would still probably, if you're gonna run that, I would probably take off Elevate, because the constant void dashing will like just lock down a bunch of enemies. So that's a good like combo to keep together for the lockdown. And then you get the damage boost. So it's still, I would probably do that if you were to do that. So I would recommend running Lockdown, Magus Melt, and then Eradicate, and was it whatever the crit damage one was called? I already forgot. I don't use the operator like that, but that's what I would run. Obviously, Grenier switched this to Glaive Prime, or if you don't give a fuck about using Glaive at all, you could also just use Praetos or whatever. Moon Speed, as I've said like 4 times already. I'm starting to like repeat myself a ton. If you want proof, watch the video that I'm gonna put in the little tab thingy. If you care, yeah, I suck at the game. Yes, I still did it. I did like 128 Exilizers. So yeah, not a great run, but definitely possible. If I'm a shitter and I could do it, that means you can most likely do it. People who play this game are sweats, so well, a lot of them are. Well, not all of them, but like there's a lot of like a crazy like, a community of like people don't really hear about, like just the complete Warframe sweats with thousands of eye and all that bullshit. I'm not that good at the game, but if I could do Void Cascade solo level cap, you definitely can. That's kind of like just the point of this video. Don't be scared trying level caps and stuff like that. It's not like it's not as hard as you think it is, especially now with the EHP changes, the enemies having much less health. It's nowhere near as hard as it used to be. The biggest issue going to level cap, if you've never been to high levels, it's definitely Overguard. Once you get used to the Overguard, with just how much health it really is, because you can't really kill it with like viral, it's straight only base damage. So it definitely takes a minute to break the Overguard on the enemies, but once you get used to like that, that's probably, I would say, the biggest thing is not being able to hit, like stagger them at all when they have their guard up. So that's just one big thing to look out for. Level cap isn't anything that crazily hard. It's fun to do. That's why Void Cascade is a really short one. I think my run was around 2-ish hours. It wasn't that long. Void Cascade is one of the quicker ones. Disruption and Cascade, I think, are the 2 fastest besides Deviri, but Deviri doesn't really count. That's a different kind of level cap. That's just kind of like nuke the whole map. But yeah, that is my dog shit video on Void Cascade, the build. I'll put the run description pop up on the screen, something like that. So yeah, this is my awful video. Subscribe, I'll kiss you. If you like it, that's kind of cool. So yeah, bye.